welcome back. Today we're talking about New World. And New World is, what I like about it is it looks like a sequel to New Adventure from the first read, both in the way it's spelled and thematically. It's I kind of like the idea of New Adventure kind of segues and leads to a new world, both in life and deed. But in actuality, the song is older than New Adventure. It came about after I had made the Ball of Noise and discovered I just wasn't so good at making the kind of music I wanted to make. I started going at things from another direction. I was taking my loud, fast, noisy punk songs and slowing them down, trying to do the complete opposite of what I set out to do. And sometimes it worked. The song Damned, for example, that completely made the song what it is today. And I got a few other things. And for this one, this was actually my attempt to take For Real and slow it down and see what I could come up with. So it was all the same notes. And I sort of took those notes, slowed them down, and it sort of became this loop of 4 notes. That was kind of the heart of For Real. And it did not become a new version of For Real, but it sort of became its own thing, just based around this loop of 4 notes, going over and over again. And it was, and originally it was kind of these 4 notes, and it always had an electronic backing. And then I would take it, and then when it kind of goes through kind of a style change at the end, I had Chad play on the drums, and it would sort of transition from an electronic song to like an actual punky type rock song. And although his recording was, it wasn't quite well enough to use this time around, but the recording I used, the drums I used, were basically a copy of what he played. And he always kind of suggested, instead of the electronic stuff for the beginning, that I should just try using some kind of tom roll. So that's what I did here. And New World. Yeah, this song, over the years, it kind of had a couple of different titles. Sometimes it would be New World. Some years it would be called A Running After. And I kind of bounced between those 2 titles. And then after a while, another song started to get developed out of this, and that became A Running After. And that was going to be part of the follow-up to Show Your Blood. Which, assuming the world doesn't collapse, I think I'm going to record that this fall for, it's just time. Got some ashes in my mouth. Yeah, Running After. I think that's a pretty cool song. It's funny, and I think I've talked about this follow-up to Show Your Blood quite a bit, but had I recorded it like 7 or 8 years ago, then it would have been kind of this aggressive beast of an album. But now I don't think it's quite going to be the monster it was always intended to be if I record it. It's going to have some energy, but it's, just songs kind of belong in a certain time and place, and if you don't get at them right at that time, some of the elements might remain, but in a different time, they start to mean something different. They're played a little bit differently. They just have a different attitude applied to them. So, like when I made Show Your Blood, I just wanted to make the, just the most powerful, energetic punk album I could imagine doing. And I wanted the follow-up to be 10 times as much. And now that's not important anymore. And that's kind of what the song The New World is about. Just, it's funny because these lyrics are not new. They were written way back when. And yet they they very much describe the past couple of years. Just, and things, what you've been madly pursuing for years on end. There comes a point when it's just not important anymore. And ironically, that's just kind of at the moment when you've never been more able to do it. And when you finally get there, yeah, it's just not the important thing anymore. Still the fun thing, still the great thing. I'm not knocking it, I still have fun with this, but it's not, just not what it used to be to me. It's funny, when I took For Real and was slowing it down, then, I ended up with this song. It was, it's one thing to go exploring, but it's also a good thing to have a map. It's, I think when you go, Chad and I always had this ongoing debate that I was always looking to put things toward a grid, make the plan, make the hard and fast, plan out a map and kind of get there. And he just always wanted to be constantly just seeing what could be done, always just looking for possibilities. He just wanted to kind of start playing the chords, just kind of do a stream of conscious over it and just see what might happen. And I think the problem with that is it's, one, you rarely get anything done, and it's kind of like gambling. Because once in a while you do win. Once in a while you really do get something special out of that kind of process. But that discovery, that prize you get once in a while, can give you the false impression that that's the way to go about things, and you'll end up wasting the other 90% of your time in pursuit of something that just doesn't happen all that often. It's much better to have a map than to go exploring. Not that it isn't valuable to be exploring, but sounds like someone doesn't want to go to bed. But it's, I don't think you can replace exploring with the journey. It's like if you're on a journey, well, it's okay to deviate as long as you realize you're deviating and put a limit on it, and then kind of got to get back to things eventually. But New World is an example where deviating, at this point, it worked out. Ashes keep flying into my cup. Maybe I'm sitting a little too close, but I kind of like it here. It's nice. Oh, well. It's Been interesting doing this reminiscing, and it's I haven't always enjoyed it. Sometimes it was kind of a pain in the ass to always be looking for something to talk about. But I'm surprised that when you really sit back upon it, there's an awful lot to think about. It's weird how there never seems to be anything to run out about. There's always something new to talk about. I find that very interesting. Just the more you examine, the more you can pull out of it, the more you can talk about. And it's fascinating that life is, no matter how mundane, it's not boring. It's really only boring if you decide it's boring. And boredom is kind of up to you. If you're excited about something, you're always going to find some different angle to examine and pull apart and look at. And there's never a reason to be bored of something. If you're bored, that's a whole other thing. Yeah. It's weird. It's funny, I had a strange dream last night. Yet I'm having trouble remembering it. It was, I had got a phone call from someone. It had a weird name. It sounded like Moses, but it wasn't Moses. It was like Mosley or Moshi or something. And it was, hey, they're like, hey, it's Mosley, and I had no idea who this person was, but they seemed to believe we went back many years. And it's like, hey, it's Mosley from way back when. And I'm like, and for some reason I felt the need to play along. Like I didn't want to admit that I didn't know this guy. And he was like, hey, I don't know, he'd like found a job or found some work for me if I wanted it. And it was the next day, but it was weird. I didn't want to let on that I didn't know this person. And I was like, oh, I'm not so sure I'm interested in doing that, but I'll see if I know a friend who wants to do it, and I'll get back to you. And Mosley seemed kind of, I don't know, it was almost like they were surprised that I didn't want the work. Kinda, I don't know. Not that I so much believe in dreams. I think for the most part dreams are just a jumble of the previous day's thoughts, but once in a while they just throw a surprise at you and you just don't know what to think of it. I'm about as psychic as a brick, but I have had dreams come true, but nothing exciting. I've had a handful of dreams, and yeah, they've come true. But they've been such boring things. Well, boring, okay, mundane, not boring, mundane things. And it was, and I often wondered, was that insight that was being given to me, or was that insight that, or was I just momentarily tapping into something that's always there? And it was just an ongoing stream, and I just saw it for a few moments. That's why it was mundane. And I just happened to notice it. Or was there some intelligence just momentarily opened up my mind just to let me know, the future isn't as unknown or as mysterious as we like to believe. I don't know. I don't know which way it is. I just know, I've dreamt to be in a certain place at a certain time. Actually, one of these dreams, I remember I was saying words, yet I was eating. And that was kind of the little quirk that had me remember it. I was like, well, my mouth was full, yet I was talking. It just seemed like a really weird dream. And then later on, I was eating, but I was thinking a certain thing. And I kind of realized, not only did I dream about what I was doing, I was dreaming about what I was even thinking. Which, that's kind of mind-blowing if even your thoughts can be predicted. Wow. You know, I've dreamt very little about the band endeavor, about the music. It's not something I've dreamt of a lot, although I did dream of one song. Now, Paul McCartney once dreamt a song, and he had Yesterday. I dream a song. I dreamt Bite Me When It's Over. Maybe I should have said that on the Bite Me video, but yeah, I dreamt of one song, and it was Bite Me When It's Over. And it was actually, I don't know if in the 90s, the singer of U2, Bono, they were popular at the time. And he had these special sunglasses that he was known for wearing. And in the dream, he was singing the song back to me. And it's nothing like that he would ever normally sing. It was just it was a very weird and peculiar dream. And it's funny also, now I don't remember if this was the same dream or just the same week, but a separate dream. I also had a dream where I was having a discussion with not just him, but a few other people who were famous and popular at the time. And it was, now I'd always wondered, or was trying to come up with, what G.D.E. would be standing for, like Rena G.D.E. Now, how I started using that name, found that name, that's a bit of a story, a bit of a long story. I don't know if I've touched on it in this series, but I'm not going to get into it here. But there was a point, but the short end of it is G.D.E. doesn't stand for anything. And so I was trying to think of some things of what it might stand for, come up with a story for it. And in the dream, they were kind of explaining to me, well, it's not what it does mean, it's what it could mean. And I was like, okay, fine. And many years later, I was sitting with a friend who I used to talk with pretty often, Mark. And Mark was just out of the blue. Now, Mark wasn't a music friend. We never talked about music, but he just kind of asked me out of the blue, this band thing you do, what does the G.D.E. stand for? And so I kind of went through the long explanation, and the punchline being, well, it doesn't really stand for anything. And he seemed kind of very disappointed by my answer. And noticing this, I asked him why. He seemed kind of dissatisfied. He was just like, oh, well, what I thought it meant was, I guess DGE is kind of an atheist motto. You'll see like bumper stickers and stuff with it. And it means, does God exist? Kind of question mark. It's kind of a challenge. And he thought I was kind of slapping back at that and doing kind of Rena, God does exist. And I thought, well, maybe it means that now. I really like that. I really like that idea. As I understand, Rena is kind of a clumsy term. Rena is, I believe that's Hebrew for melody, and I think G.D.E. Or like G.D.E. is kind of Russian for where. So sometimes I would joke it means where's the melody. But God does exist. I don't know, I kind of like that. Maybe it always meant something. It just wasn't for me to decide. I don't know. Maybe it's just best to let things fall where they are and let them decide for themselves what they mean. Hey, God does exist. nice out here today. It's funny. Feels like fall's coming in early this year. I'm no meteorologist, but it appears to me that some leaves seem to be turning very, very early. Some garden plants seem to be reaching picking time a little earlier than I remember. Also, now today was a hot day, but it just seems to me like there haven't been as many hot days this year as it was last, or most years. I hope I don't like cold anymore. I don't like cold winters. If I could live somewhere warm, I absolutely would. I used to think I was a polar bear, but no, not anymore. I like warmth. Now, well, new world. It's a new world we live in. Well, it was good having you here by the fire, and I'm glad you came. And yeah, I guess tomorrow we're wrapping up this series. And yeah, it was an interesting adventure. I wanted to try out doing some spoken word stuff, and I thought, this song idea came to me, and that's as good as any way to get started. Didn't want to sit here and start yapping about politics or anything, just something very neutral. And yeah, I admit it's been a mixed bag of a series. I had some trouble getting the audio straight on some of them. So some of them are a little challenging to listen to. But it's been fun. It's been interesting. I don't know if I'll ever try this again, but I think for the fall I'll go back, make a little bit more music, a few more videos, and well, then we'll just let life write itself. Oh. Well, you take care. Thanks for coming out. Hey.